The issue with this Akai AP-206C, a rather iffy and hard to adjust speed control. It is correct now. And if I turn it back to 33, it's still correct. So that works, but as you can see, it's really hard to adjust it properly. And 45, oh, that's my fingers hitting the platter. 45 is all right. That actually works consistently, but 33 is very iffy. If you touch it, it just goes flying. See? It's going the one direction first, and then it goes back, and now it's just all over the place. So this is also kind of hard to turn. Is a dirty speed pot. And though turning it a couple of times usually solves the problem for a bit, not even in this case, the best way to fix this is to clean the pots. I'm gonna have to take it apart because the pots are here underneath. First thing you want to do is make sure everything is fixed, nothing can move about underneath the dust cover. Get the cartridge off, get the weight off, get the adapter off, the mat, and when that is all done, there's 2 holes for a reason, get the platter off. Sometimes you have to pull pretty hard to get it off, but it usually comes off just like that. Looking good, everything's off. Unplug it from the mains, turn it upside down, and then there are loads of screws here. Make sure you use a screwdriver that's big enough, because having one that is too small will completely strip the heads off your screws. There it goes, just sticky. It's not actually that much in it. You have some adjustment pots for the speed internally, and they're kind of practical because you can set up the speed so the pots that are on the front of the machine, these that you adjust it with, are exactly in the middle, so you have the full speed adjustment range. That seemed okay so far, but we're going to check that in a bit. First I'm going to clean these spots, and as you can see, they have little holes in them there. Those are meant to be used to clean them. So we're going to get some contact cleaner. And you just sort of spray into those holes. Don't worry about the spillage. It's non-conductive and it will dry out quickly because there's also alcohol in it. And then you just start working the pots on the other side. And you will notice very quickly that they'll become very easy to turn. Almost so easy, especially after all these years, that it feels like there's something not quite right. It can't be that light, right? Is it even working? Yes, it is. And you just keep doing this until it doesn't get any lighter. It's super light now, this one. As you can see, I can just, easily twist it. Now the other one is extremely heavy feeling. Oh my god, I can't turn it any faster than this. And this one's just like, wee wee. So yeah, now the other one. After you're done with this, you do the same thing with isopropyl alcohol. Because this stuff, the contact cleaner, this is by WD-40, but any tuner spray, contact cleaner, pot cleaner, it all works. It actually eats up the internals of your potentiometers, so it's best to clean them afterwards with IPA, 100% or 99% alcohol, to get rid of the leftover contact cleaner. As you can see, this is super light now, and I can already tell you it's going to work fine now. But we're not just going to put it back together yet. I'm going to first see if it needs more adjusting. I need to get to this while it's still up in the air. So I'm going to lean this on here. It's still not plugged in, by the way. And lean this on here. A bit further that way, maybe. Oop. And now everything is free underneath. So, power. Now, if I turn the pitch now, as you can see, it's regulating exactly as I turn it. There can sometimes be dead spots in them, but this is absolutely perfect. Let's try 45. Yep, I mean, that actually already worked fine, but now it's also smooth to turn. So what I'm going to do now is see how far they actually turn. And it's going to go all the way to, okay, so it does about half a turn. Yeah, so I'm going to want my thumb to be on the top. Here it is. Same for this one. On the top, so they're sort of halfway now, and as you can see, the speed is not stable. So I'm going to adjust the pots underneath in order to get it to be stable now, or to be correct now. Can I get to them this way? I'm going to need a little light. So usually the speed pots, if they're not marked, they are usually right next to each other. There's two sets here. One is then usually for finer adjustments, and the other one for more coarse adjustments. And sometimes the pots influence each other, so if you turn one, the other one also adjusts. So you sort of have to try out to see which one you want to adjust first. I'm just going to see what happens if I turn the pot and see if I got the right one or the wrong one. That doesn't change anything. I'm going to switch it to 45. Oh, that definitely changes a lot of things. It's very, very sensitive, so I do indeed think that the other ones are fine adjustment pots, but that's fine because it only is ish in the middle. So this one's close enough, and this one definitely still needs a little adjustment. So these are also a bit dirty. Turning them a bit usually works with these. And there you go, that's close enough. The tiny adjustment I can just make here. I just want to have my full range here, so it needs to be somewhere around the middle. And then I adjust it to exactly 33, and I adjust this one to exactly 45. And of course, anyone using this can adjust it as they see fit, but right now it is switching nicely between 45 and 33. So I'm going to put this one back together, give it a clean. Things back together, as you can see. I haven't put the platter on or anything because we need to clean it first. And first I'm going to take off the dust cover. Just checking if I could take off the hinges, but those are, oh no, you can take them out, just a little more force. Because we need all the space we can get. Okay, it's out. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of dust. Because if I start cleaning it, I'm just going to rub wet dust into everything. So I'm just going to blow it with one of these. You can use, you can use, let me reach up a little bit. You can use compressed air as well, but this works fine, easy to direct, and you never run out. And then I do the same with a soft brush, just getting rid of the loose dust. So I got this nice paintbrush that I've been using for years, and depending on the devices I'm cleaning, if I have like a shiny metal 70s record player, they usually are, it's very easy to clean away the text with this kitchen cleaner. But with this, it's going to be fine. So I just spray some kitchen cleaner. It's like, I do spray a lot, but I also spray pretty thin, so I divide it. It's not like it's going to be soaked in some places. And I'm just going to brush away the dirt where it's kind of hard to reach. So I don't mind about these parts because I'll get there eventually, but all of the nooks and crannies that you won't be able to reach with a cloth or paper towel, I do that with the brush, and that really makes life a lot easier once we get to the towel part. Same here, little nooks and crannies, just cleaning it out with a brush. Right? Okay, some screw holes here, and then we get to the paper towel. So first let's get rid of all of this wet mess. Obviously don't apply too much pressure because it's really easy to break something like this, but also don't be too slow because we've got more to do today. So I try to be quick but sensible. And if you're used to doing this once every year, you will take it a lot slower. But if, like me, you do this quite regularly, you do become pretty fast, but also you know how much pressure you can apply in order to actually work quick but not break anything. So if this looks rough, trust me, I am a professional. I'm much better at cleaning than I am at repairing, actually. As you can see, it is turning into a silver record player instead of a brown one. And it's already looking a lot cleaner, can you tell? We haven't even properly cleaned it yet, and it's already looking a lot cleaner. Right. News updates. I'm not forgetting about the Ukraine. Okay, sanctions, the usual. Stay safe out there, guys. If anyone watching this is from the Ukraine or Russia or Belarus or Lithuania even, or Poland, I feel very much worried for you guys about what's going on. And I want you to know I don't blame any of the people of any of these countries for any of this. I realize there's loads of Russians who are incredibly sad about this. and who consider Ukrainians their friends. So I completely get all of your emotions, and I also get when Ukrainians are a bit mean about Russians now because of all the panic. And I hope this is gonna soon end, but it's obviously hard to tell at this point. We're only at the 3rd or 4th day of this whole thing now. So take care, guys. Stay safe. And I know your internet's a mess right now, but if you're watching this, I hope this video gives you some nice distraction. And I'm keeping an eye on the news and seeing where I can maybe do something, mean something. So as you can see, you can talk about heavy political subjects while cleaning. It's one doesn't rule out the other, but let's all be thoughtful and mindful. The record player is looking good now, actually. I'm surprised at how quickly it cleaned up, but I've also learned that you think it's done, but you can add an extra layer of shine by using a little glass cleaner, just a fine layer, and a microfiber cloth. Microfiber is slightly abrasive and just takes it to the next level. Where you're like, it was already clean, but now it's shiny and squeaky clean. And you can tell it's actually sort of brightening up the color of the metalwork, and it gives it that newish shine. I don't know how microfiber does that, but whatever, it does it. Also, the arm has a little bit of oxidation. I don't really need to polish it, but what I could do if it was worse than this is use some car polish. I use Commandant 4, but I'm not sure if that's a Dutch thing. Use some car polish and also some paper towel, and just slightly polish the arm so it's all nice and shiny. A little dent here of where the dust cover landed all that time, but other than that, this thing looks really beautiful. It's a beautiful looking record player. I'm not the biggest fan of how they sound. They sound a bit dead to me. But they are solidly built and they usually work. Just gonna clean the front still because I didn't do that yet. Make the logo all shiny. Akai means red, by the way. It's an interesting name for a brand, but it's a well-known brand by now. So hey, okay, we have a nice looking top cover now. What I'm gonna do now is put the head shell back, and this is still golden brown, so I'm going to wipe that off quickly. The rest is in silver, so you don't really notice the dirt. Just gonna clean it because I should, but it looks good already. And the same goes for the counterweight, which definitely is supposed to look more shiny than it does now, but a little kitchen cleaner, as you can see, takes care of that in no time. Here you go. A beautiful looking counterweight. Oop. Forgot a spot there at the back of the arm. Arms, not that sensitive. I know people who work on extremely expensive record players who even put them upside down on the arm. An arm like this can handle a bit of a beating. So the platter is obviously a bit of a tricky one to clean because of the stroboscope, and it will just chew on your paper. So get some high quality paper towel for this. Don't use the same one you use for the kitchen because these are actually expensive. I mean, a roll of this is almost a roll of this is €1.5, which is a lot, I would say. But it's kind of useful because you can even polish dust covers with it. Spoiler alert. So you can see there's a lot of nicotine and tar coming off of this, but it's going to be beautiful. Don't forget the top edge because the mat doesn't fall over that. I'm not going to show you how I clean the mat. I'm going to tell you though. I'm just going to put it in the sink, spray some Desi over it, and another news update, and then rinse it off with warm water and a slightly rough sponge, like a Scotch Brite sponge. This needs a bit more cleaning though. This is particularly dirty. So if you do this, make sure you keep the platter steady, because you don't want to, I'm pushing down on the platter now so it doesn't rotate, which is fine, but if I now rotate it will cause scratches right there. So make sure you keep the platter very, very steady while you clean it like this. Also careful with the stylus. This record player came with a nice Audio-Technica AT95E cartridge, which has now been replaced with the AT-VM95 series, and the great cartridge is really nice match with this arm. So I'm definitely not gonna remove that, but I do want to keep the stylus in one piece. So maybe don't do this with the stylus on. Do as I say, not as I do. And yeah, if you do it with the stylus on, make sure you don't accidentally swipe the stylus with your cloth because it will break. So a little bit of cloth everywhere now, but that's gone. It did come with the original adapter. I think that is the original adapter, at least it looks familiar. The whole thing looks to be in perfectly original shape with the original head shell, just an operated cartridge, which is great. And the mat, we'll get it clean in a second. But first, I'm going to do the most satisfying of all, the dust cover. This dust cover is not in perfect shape. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a quick clean with the kitchen cleaner. Akai player system. Player, baby. Not sure why it says that, but whatever. Here we are. And then I'm going to grab, look at how dirty it actually is. You don't even notice. It has a bit of a crack here, but it's still in one piece. It's gonna stop dust from getting in perfectly fine. I'm gonna grab my polish, an old towel, open it as such. I prefer to use the one that is made for polishing machines because it's not splattering everywhere as it's pretty solid. And then just applying, maybe stay in there. Applying some pressure, but not ridiculously much. I just start making round movements, doing about 1/5 of the dust cover at a time, like so. Make sure you don't forget the edges, because that's actually what you see best. It's the most annoying thing to polish, but it's worth it. It's much louder on this side because it's still a bit rough. This is much quieter here. Same here. So you actually take off a thin layer of the plastic, but there's plenty left. And that makes it more shiny and it gets all the micro scratches out. Make sure you use enough polish. You can't really use too much, it's just wasteful if you do so. Try and find a happy medium where it spreads nicely. As you can hear, it's getting quieter now. But it's not all over your table. This is not going to make it perfect. You could make it perfect if you start out with sandpaper and then go finer, finer, finer. This is just to make it look presentable. Now you get a clean towel and you do the same thing, but now without polish. And as you can already see, even though the scratches are still there, it looks a whole lot more transparent. The microfiber cloth again. You need to replace these regularly because they do get very dirty very quickly and then they don't work as well anymore. Let me just use the glass cleaner. Guess you use it Windex in the UK. Here it's called Glass X. Although this is a fake one called Shiny Glass Cleaner. Glimmering glass cleaner. And you just clean it up nicely. And it doesn't really work on this, but if you have a black audio device and you clean it with glass cleaner, what you want to do is not use too much glass cleaner. You need the abrasiveness of the microfiber. It will make it shine, and then you go and that sort of removes the leftover grease from the glass cleaner, because glass cleaner is pretty greasy, weirdly, and makes it all shiny and nice. And you can sort of see this pattern appearing in the plastic. I don't know how that works, but it makes it look really nice. So that is the top. Now the inside is still dirty. I didn't clean that yet, so just putting it on my lap. Hello, getting my glass. It's never that dirty on the inside, so I don't really need the kitchen cleaner. And I'm going to start off with paper because I don't want to make my microfiber cloth too dirty. Here we are. Just cleaning out the dirt. There's some. It's still moist, so I'm just going to dry it out with the microfiber now, shining it up a bit. And then you get a nice shining dust cover that is far from new. Make sure you do the front as well, because that's what everyone's looking at. It's far from new, but it does look maintained. It does look loved. We got ourselves a record, but we first need to do some adjustments. And we're going to need one of these. It's a protractor. You can print them. You can also buy them. They're a couple of euros. And the thing with the record player is, because the arm is sort of moving in this bow, there's only two spots in which it intersects perfectly with the groove, and you have to adjust it so it at least gets those two spots. So there's different theories. Some are more to the inside, some more to the outside. I like the bare wall one, which is about at 1/4 and 3/4 of the record. So the rest, it has a deviation. That's part of the system, but at least it's okay for the most part. So we'll look into that in a second. First, we're going to adjust the the tracking force. So what you do, you just set your tracking force so that the arm floats. Now it's folding up, so you set it a little heavier. So these record players, if you don't start them, the lift will stay up. So we're going to have to get the lift down first. Come on. This is brand new, by the way. I'm sure you can tell. The lift is now not syncing, so I'm going to tell it to start. I unplugged it, of course. And now the lift is going down. It's purely manually driven. You don't actually need electricity for that. Now I'm going to set the weight so the arm floats, anti-skating to 0. So now it's floating up. Still floating up, a little heavier. Still a bit up. Now it's sort of hanging in there at plateau level. Now I'm going to set the little number scale to 0. Make sure it still floats. Now it's 0 grams, and I'm going to set it all to 2 grams, which is the intended tracking force for this record player. And I'm going to get an old record. Can be beat up, that's fine. I'm going to plug the record player in, and I'm going to make the stylus land, and I'm going to see what it does. As you can see, it's sort of skipping inside. Not too much, but it wants to go inside. So I up the anti-skating a bit, so it's a bit more gentle. Still skipping inside a bit more anti-skating. Now it's making a more gentle landing. That looks good. Now that's not the perfect way to set up anti-skate, but it gets you about 80% of the way there. Right, overhang. This is the overhang checker. So you're just going to sink the stylus onto the little crossover section, and then you're going to look at whether the stylus is exactly, oh, they did a good job, is exactly in one line with this line here. And there's 2 lines, there's another one here, and that also needs to be spot on. Now these are already spot on, so someone did it right, but if it's wrong, you just loosen these screws and you move it forwards and backwards until it is. Don't twist it, you don't have to, just move it forwards and backwards, and then you should be good. And then you have a perfectly set up overhang for most record players, at least. There's exceptions, but those usually come with specific protractors. So, with that all said and done, let me grab the record that I just got. It's a record by The Bees called Sunshine Hit Me. I think it's one of the greatest records ever made, but your mileage may vary. We're just gonna put the lift back up. Check the speed, because of course with all the cleaning we readjusted that quite a bit. And it should be a lot easier to adjust now. There you go, 33 exactly. And lower the lift. There we are. Let's check 45. Same story. Sounds good to me. And let's check the auto stop. Not too shabby, I would say. One Akai AP-206C, all done.